are you?
I'm good, mate. How you doing?
Good. Feeling
Good.
good. Really exciting day, yeah?
Sure, of course, and it'll be sunny, right? So it'll be
Exactly
nice.
right. Mark, let's talk about the final, right? Chelsea are
Let's
obviously
do it.
going in, trying to get a domestic treble. They've won the league, they've gone invincible, but it's a weird dynamic because maybe they're the favourites, but you're coming in as the title holders, right? So it's not your average underdog dynamic. So talk to me about that. How's the squad preparing for that game, coming up against Chelsea, but also holding respect for yourselves?
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it, I think, Jay. So for us, it's I think there's a respect for Chelsea. They've achieved something incredible this season, but there's not a fear. I don't think there can be a fear. Events like this, and I call it an event because game would just it's just part and parcel of what you do in the season. But this is an event, so for us we've got to be fully focused and concentrated for the whole game. I've played them twice this season, Jay, and we lost to two set pieces. So 2-1-0s to two set pieces. So that's where we have to concentrate. We have to make sure we maximise those. And the reality was in the last game, albeit, look, I understand the context. They'd just been knocked out of the Champions League. And so we understand the context, but the reality was it was our best performance against them. So we are in a position where we must concentrate, must focus, and just enjoy it, Jay. Like that's the reality. Go in with and if you ask, I've never asked our team to be the underdog or use that underdog mentality. I think it's a waste of time and waste of breath. So especially for a team like us. So we know the challenge, we know how difficult they're going to be, but we've got to go in there and embrace it. And I think if we embrace it, we can beat anyone. We have no doubt about that. So we expect the most difficult challenges, but what's a Final Four otherwise? If it was easy, what's the point?
And Mark, we spoke a little bit about it after the Arsenal game, but I'm wondering if you had more time to review it. Obviously, you confirmed yesterday Jade Rivier's not going to be fit for the fixture. Ethan Mannion's back, but there was kind of the back three, the two wing backs, and we spoke about it after the Arsenal game where that went wrong. But I'm wondering, have you had time to review it? What do you think you can kind of implement from the Arsenal game coming into Chelsea?
Yeah, I think firstly the non-tactical context would be the spirit. You need that spirit. We put ourselves in a position, Jay, to be honest, where we made it almost impossible to come back. Well, it was impossible at that point because we didn't do it. So I think for us, it's about understanding when and where to use those tactical switches. Like, you're not going to be one shape for the whole game, and you're not going to be in defence and attack. So, and nor with Chelsea. We know how they build. We know they've just played a 3 in the last game, and that's whether that's a little bit of gamesmanship or not. But the reality is we'll be prepared for those decisions that they make tactically. What we need to be prepared for also is just making sure that we adapt at the right times. Look, you're going to have to defend 1v1, you're going to have to defend outnumbered, numbers up. Like you're going to have to do it all. If you want to win a final, you've got to exhaust the tank tactically and mentally and physically. So we'll expect all of those, and then we just have to go and produce it, and that's what we're going to drive our performance to do.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Jay. See you later, mate.
Thank you. Dan, please.
Morning, Mark. Hope you're well.
Morning. So you come down to Wembley this weekend?
Yeah.
Love it. Good. I'll see you there.
Yeah, I just wonder, kind of getting that monkey off your back last year in terms of, the club winning that first major trophy, yourself as well, I suppose. How kind of significant is that in your preparation, the fact that you've now been there, done it, and you know exactly what to expect, what it feels like, that sort of thing? I
think it's vital, Dan, because you don't waste time on preparation for that in the week, if that makes sense, because you've already done it. Like, the reality is I've got new players again that may not have done it for us, but the reality is there's enough kind of experience in that room to be able to now produce that together. So I'd expect that there'll be nerves, of course, because it's naturally to have those from both teams. And I think we've got to structurally manage the game, Dan, and that's where you've got to be in this game on a consistent basis. You've got to stay within the score line so that you can either you're ahead or you're behind, but you need to be prepared for both. And I think that's what it gives you. It gives you that understanding that you've had this experience and that you know how to deal with it. What it basically does, Dan, is it takes away your thought processes around wasting emotions in the game, about panicking, about because actually you've been there before and you've been more focused on what the outcome can be. So when we're outcome based, outcome focused, you just get better solutions.
Just want to go back to that semi-final victory last year, because I just think it was a great kind of performance, a classic performance. It was a little bit different at that time to what you were doing in the league. Obviously, you went physical with Rach as well, and sprung a surprise on Chelsea. When you're coming up against a side that are unbeaten domestically, is that kind of something that you need to do? Do you need to kind of go in and aim to surprise?
You have to have some element of that, I think. I think you have to... You also have some predictability for your team, so you can't be, just absolutely like changing the whole game plan. But you just have to be prepared for both. I think it'll be scenario based as well, Dan, because you should plan it for scenario based. Whether you're losing, whether you're winning, whether you're drawing, at whatever stage in the game, you have to be scenario based. And I think that's the thing that we'll be working on, been speaking about, been talking about. And then the players have to deliver their qualities, Dan. The reality is we can talk tactically all you want, but I have to put the players in a position where they feel like they can give their best performance of the season. Doesn't matter when they've done it at what stage in the season, can they give it in a one-off event? And that's, if we can marry that with those strategies, then we'll give ourselves the best chance of winning the game.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that, Mark.
Thank you, mate. See you later.
Thanks, Dan. Asif, please.
Hi, Mark.
Good morning, Asif.
Dan just mentioned Rachel Williams. You said that she's fit to play on Sunday. She's obviously been a lucky child for you and Birmingham in the FA Cup down the years. But with her contract now up, could Sunday possibly be the last time we see her in a United shirt, or do you have plans for the next season?
Yeah, I think they're in conversations, Asif, to potentially extend her contract. So I think by now that's I've relinquished that kind of conversation I've done for the last year or so. So I know that the club are speaking to Rach and her representatives around potential extension. I don't know what that looks like, but there's definitely. So hopefully it's not her last, because she has a really unique aspect in the league, probably, as if she had such a specific aspect to a game that she's almost like a special teams in American football. So for us, she's been huge of part of what we do, especially in this cup run as well. Hopefully, we can extend her, but time will tell.
Last season, you won the FA Cup and missed out on the Champions League. If your season had ended last week with a third place finish and no FA Cup, would it have been a successful season for the club, or do you need a trophy for you to feel satisfied with the captain?
Stop asking me loaded questions, Asif. It's the last one of the season. No, look, Asif, I'm here to deliver trophies. I get it. Look, I'm here to deliver. I want to deliver trophies and qualify for Champions League, and do what everybody thinks is impossible to try and win the league. So, look, I think we have to. We're going to try and add this one, Asif, of course. But look, I'm not. You know me. I'm pretty. I can live with the fairies sometimes, because I think that you should always try and win every game. But when you're in a final, I think that you have every chance of winning it. You've just got to be. We've got to be spot on the day, and if we do that, as I say, Asif, I think we can beat anyone. That would then produce a trophy, and qualifying for Champions League is no mean feat anyway. So, I think we've done a fantastic season so far. But as I say, it'd be great to add this trophy as well, and beat a team. Look, Asif, beat a team that's domestically unbeaten. So, it's something we need to try and overcome as well.
Cheers, Mark.
Thank you, Asif. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Asif. Keris, please.
Morning, Mark.
Good morning, Keris. What you got in your coffee cup? Is it coffee or tea?
It is coffee. It's
Good
always
work.
coffee.
Good work, mate. Good work.
I just wanted to ask, we talked about the last time that United played Chelsea, feeling like you said it felt like it was probably the first time the team really felt that they could beat them. I just wanted to kind of reflect on how you feel that the team's mentality towards playing Chelsea has changed over the course of probably going back since you beat them in the Cup. Do you feel that you're in a more confident position now, or I don't know?
Yeah, no, I like your question. I think from our perspective, it's like when you come against teams that have a lot of resource, you know that they can keep bringing that challenge to you every time. So even if they dip in one area, they can change somebody to bring into that area. that's a challenge you have to overcome as a human and as a footballer, where you've got to believe that no matter what's thrown at you, you can overcome it. And I think, look, there's no doubt about it. In this country, Chelsea are the biggest challenge for every football team, because they just naturally have got that result base behind them and statistically to show it. So whether we feel styles and football styles, results-wise, Chelsea are the best team and the hardest team to come against. But if you know anything about us, which I think you'll know this, Keris, is we're rebels, and we don't like just accepting that this is the case. I'm a rebel. My nature is rebellious. So for me, it's about just not accepting that just because I have the best resource, that they have to be the best team on every occasion. And I think when you set yourself up for that challenge and you know that you're going to have to go through hell to get the victory, if you prepare for that, then I believe that you can do something special. And that's something that we want to do. And that's something that I want this team to do. And of course, I believe in our quality to be able to deliver that as well. So when we put ourselves through that hard work, we have the quality to win the game, I have no doubt. But we've got to go to the depths, Keris. No doubt about that. We've got to go to the depths.
And you've spoken about you've said just now, like the 2 1-0 losses this season have been 2 set pieces. I think it's fair to say it's been on moments that those games have swung. How do you account for that? Because it's not a strategy almost. What do you how do you speak to the players to sort of try and counteract that unpredictability almost?
Well, do you know what's added unpredictability as well, Keris? Like, there's no player on that pitch that's going to hear any of the coaches on the sideline. I'm telling you now, even at the Emirates, they couldn't hear us. So we're going to have strategies as coaches to manage momentum, to help the players manage momentum when they're in the moment, especially set pieces. It might be visual aids, it might be visual cues. It's about, when they adapt, it's about you being adaptable. In all honesty, Keris, it's a great growth moment for every player on that pitch, because they're going to have to make decisions that might go against naturally a game plan that you've made because something's changed. And that's why I want to encourage my players to do that without fear. Go into the game, and if you make the wrong decision but you wholeheartedly believe in it, we can deal with it. We'll work with it. But if you go into it and you're passive and you don't make those decisions, then that's something you'll regret. And I think for us, it's no regrets. So those are the situations. I think it's us being visually aware, us being the right triggers from the sideline. Again, you might see me miming some things that, you'll be like, what the hell is he doing? But we'll try our best to kind of get that information across to the players. And I think those are the key details. When they're tired, both teams, can you concentrate the hardest? And we've got to overcome Chelsea in that area.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Keris. Have a good day.
Thanks. Emma, please.
Hi, Mark.
Morning.
Can I just check team news, please?
Yes, so everyone is available barring Jade right now, Emma. Of course, we have 2 training sessions left, but everyone else is up for selection, which is positive. Obviously, gutted for Jade as well, by the way. Gutted for Jade.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you were hoping that Jade was going to be back fit. How does that sort of, I suppose, what impact does that have? The fact that your starting kind of fullback isn't available for a cup final.
Yeah, it's obviously difficult, but it's something like it's thrown at you all the time, isn't it? It's thrown at you. Like, if you don't adapt, you may as well just give the game to Chelsea anyway. So it's one player who is an incredible footballer, is a huge part of what we do, but we also have players that can come in and do a fantastic role. And we might have to adapt at times as well. Then, Emma, that's the game of football. You don't just accept what you're dealt. You have to work with it, and otherwise you got no chance. So I believe in this team. I believe in the squad to be able to find them adaptations.
Sure, you were expecting this, but there was some big news at Chelsea this week. Obviously, some investment from Alexis and Serena. I wonder, firstly, what your reaction to that is, and also, are you, I suppose, concerned that Chelsea are just, going to get even further away from the rest of the pack in the WSL?
Do you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking, do you know what Chelsea need? They need a bit more money. They need a bit more investment because they've not quite got enough, right? So, no, joking aside. Now, look, I've said this before. I don't have a green-eyed monster, that talks about the... You'd be envious of that budget, of course you would. I mean, the challenge for them, I think the scrutiny adds more to probably Sonia then, because if you don't deliver Champions League position, then that's basically what you're funding. You're funding to win Champions League and go domestically unbeaten. So the task becomes harder, in my opinion, because they've got to achieve that 0.5%, not 1%. It's even smaller. So I think for us, what that does is, if you're a sports person, and you'll get this because you're a competitive person, it just makes you compete better. And the reality is you're not playing Chelsea every week. You're playing them on two events. So if you can maximise those and get them, maybe 3 if you're FA Cup final or something. If you can maximise them, you can beat them anyway, because they're still human. But credit to them. And I do echo what Sonia said yesterday. It's great, and that, they want to be the front runners in terms of showing how we should invest in the women's game. I don't know how that money's going to be spent and how but it's great that the interest is there. I genuinely mean that for someone that's been involved in women's football for so long. But it doesn't make me credit to them. But we've got to find a way to still beat that. And that's my job. I'll dig in deep and find my own 0.5% to try and get closer. But yeah, I just don't want people to give up just because there's money there. I think you have to try and find solutions, because I don't think I've ever been at a team that has had the biggest budget. So I've got to find solutions and try and do it. But I think you'll agree, it's fantastic for the game, and hopefully more people can do that. And when our club is in that stage, I know that we're going to be looking to invest in the right ways and the right time. So I've no doubt that will come. It's just, we've said it, we're trying to do it sustainably.
Thanks, Mark. All the best.
Thank you, Thank you.
Sandra, please.
Hi Mark, how are you?
I'm
right?
good, Sandra. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good stuff.
Yes, I just wanted to go back to some of what you were saying to Dan when he asked the question about Rachel Williams and physicality. Obviously, we know that Man United, when they need to be, can be quite physical, robust team. You've got players like, obviously, Aoife in there, Rachel, Millie Turner and what have you. And I was just wondering how significant or important will that physicality be going into this final against Chelsea?
It'll be vital, Sandra. Vital. It has. Chelsea can beat you on physicality where we've been before. I remember last game of last season at Old Trafford. We were beaten on physicality. We were beaten on motivation. Whereas we've improved that massively this year. And I must stress this, Sandra. Team selection. This is always the most difficult. I mean, luckily I've had to select, but unluckily I've had to select the last 3 years an FA Cup final team. You have to leave players out, but you have to have strategy in this game. You've got to know when to mix physical, when to mix technical, when to mix tactical. And if I can strike that balance with the team, I think we'll have a good foothold in the game. But it's vital, Sandra. You look at the physicality that Chelsea have. We have to match that and go beyond it if we want to win this game, no doubt, because otherwise you can just get outrun. And our motivation should never be to be outrun. So I think if we give everything, then we'll put ourselves in a good position to try and win this game.
And obviously, you've been in these finals. Obviously, won like the other holders won it last year it was a trouncing. So how significant is the FA Cup for Man United in terms of just that journey you're going on? And obviously, now you're back in the Champions League and trying to get you to that next point where you're going to be a team that wins the title. Yeah,
do you know what, Sandra? I think it's more importantly, and it was no disrespect to Tottenham because they were fantastic in the run-up and obviously beat City and so on, but to beat Chelsea in the final, I think is something, is another step for us. I think it's a big team, a big game, and it's going to be tight. There's no doubt it's going to be a tight game, so we have to be prepared to do that, and I just think that's another step. Look, I'm really happy, and I want to stress this, I'm really happy with how we've performed this season, where we are, where we finished. But there's also the competitor in me that wants to win these games. You have to try and want to win everything about this game. So, look, I'm happy with where we're at, but we need to try and make this other step as well and try and beat a Chelsea in a final like this.
And obviously, in your answers to Emma there, the new owner, co-owners or minority owner of Chelsea, the big news around that, and Alex Ohanian's going to be at the game on Sunday. Can we expect to see any of Man United's owners being there to cheer the team on, a new one?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know who's there, but I know that we're going to be well represented. I've no doubt about that. But I've not gone to that deal. As you can imagine, Sandra, I've got X's and O's running through my head trying to find out what to do on the field. But I have no doubt that we'll be well represented. But yeah, as for who, I don't know yet. But I'm sure I'll be told that nearer the day, because obviously we want to say hello to them as they come and try and celebrate, and hopefully celebrate us lifting the FA Cup again.
That's great. Good luck on Sunday. Thanks.
Thank
Mark.
you, Sandra. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandra. Claire, please.
Hi Mark,
Good morning, Claire. How are you?
you alright?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Was that cup final vibe at the Emirates a useful dress rehearsal?
Huge. Because more importantly, I mean, if it's not very similar, but it can be like red seats, big stadium, lots of noise. It's almost very similar to Wembley. I think for us though, we've been here, and I'm reminding the players every day that we've been here. And when you've been there, you're not surprised by the smell of the air when you walk in the dressing room. You're not surprised by the cut of the grass, the way the ball rolls. You're not surprised. So, and those little things mean a lot when you can get back into your game focus, because they're all built to distract you from what your task is. And I think from our perspective, it's just about being there, focusing on what we know we can control, and then enjoying it. But yeah, I think it was a good dress rehearsal for it. And again, hopefully, look, I want to be clear, hopefully we don't concede the goals that we conceded in there, because that's not unlike us. But I think the whole, everything around it just gave us a good... We've now gone Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal into Chelsea. So we are prepared as high as we can for a big game event.
And is your team's togetherness your trump card?
I hope so. Yeah, it's actually a massive factor. Of course it is. You know, Chelsea will say the same, because what we know is that winning drives this spirit together. But we're a resilient team that has elements of that's won as well, so we can feel both sides. So it has to be. We have to use it. We have to dig into that. When it gets dark and when the game gets hard, we're going to have to dig into that. When there's moments of uncomfortable where they're making a lot of noise and their energy's high, we have to manage those momentum parts, and that's where the togetherness comes in. And that's what I want to see. Even from our body language and our behaviour, that's what I want to see.
Thanks, Mark. Good
Thank
luck.
you, Claire. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Claire. Catherine, please.
Hiya, sorry, I forgot where my unmute button was.
Good morning, Catherine.
Morning, hope you're well.
I'm good.
Yeah, I was just touching on what Claire said as well. That Arsenal game, it did feel like, I was there, it did feel like kind of a final in itself. Obviously, going 4-1 down, but then to come back and stage that comeback, kind of what can the team take from the mentality side of that? Because they did really kind of, almost stage a good comeback from that.
No, they did, and I think I said last year I don't think my team would have done that. So I feel that we're in that spirit of we don't give up, Catherine. You know, we're a team that we want to. You can't in the final. You can't give up anyway. I think it was almost like a dress rehearsal of a final, because there was something on the game and it was only a one-off game. The massive difference is that we have loads and loads of Manchester United fans that'll be at Wembley, whereas obviously we're inside the Emirates, so it was a lot of more Arsenal than it was Manchester, even though our fans were incredible away support. So I think these are areas where I feel we are going to, as a team, hugely grow. We're going to have to, there might be a lot. Let's talk reality. You could go down in the game. You could go a goal down in the game, because Chelsea score past almost everyone that they play against. So, we've got to be prepared for that. But then we've got to be prepared that if we go up in the game, we know how to manage it. It's exciting. I want us to feel the excitement of the game, but not let it tip into where it's out of control. But I tell you what, there'll be no point in this game where my team feel like they'll be down and out. They'll fight till the very, very end.
Amazing. Good luck.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine. Tom, please.
Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Tom. Nice to see you, mate.
Please, could I ask about Gabby George? Couldn't play in the final last year with injury. Lifelong United fan. What will Sunday mean for her?
Have you spoken to her, Tom? I don't know. Obviously, oh, good. Okay. For me, there's parts of football that are really romantic, and as a coaching staff, I often say if everybody had a little bit of Gabby George inside their mentality, I think that it'd suit them really well. Gabby's one of those players, Tom, that she can receive information even if it's not the most positive information. As long as it's constructive, she can receive it. And I think that maturity, that nature, that bounce back, like I look at Gabby now, Tom. Last year she wasn't even a year ago she wasn't even playing, and now she's come through a season after an ACL where she's exhausted everything that she can, and now she's got the opportunity to potentially play in a final. It's credit to her, and that's the romantic part of football. There'll be parts where other people don't play and so on, but there's a romantic part of football, and she deserves it, Tom. This is her character. She absolutely deserves it, and if she's selected, as I say, I hope that she has a stormer and really enjoys the moment.
Thank you. And can I also please ask about your captain, Maya Letitia, the woman you're obviously hoping will lift the trophy on Sunday? She just completed a 5th consecutive WSL season of starting every single game, and the last 2 seasons in a row she's played every minute for you. Can you talk to us about that? What's the secret behind that? How does she do that?
I think being a bit crazy, Tom, to be honest. She's a fantastic. It's just she's somebody that I've met quite a few in football, but she's very much in the upper kind of end of it, where she's just so competitive. Like it blinds her almost sometimes because she's so competitive, and it drives her every day, Tom. She wants to do extras every day. She wants to be better every single day. She eats well, sleeps well, lives well. She's a perfect professional, and someone so young, it's very rare, Tom, to get that kind of balance. I even said to her the other day that there's 2 or 3 things I wanted to improve going into next season that we're doing pre-season, and she's hungry to do that. So I just think that to achieve that, Tom, has anybody else done that? Is there many others that have done that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
common for goalkeepers, but it's very rare outfield play.
Yeah, so I think to be able to, and to be available for that long, is a fantastic feat, and something we should. I know we'll celebrate at some point with her, but she's great. Her character's great. Her football's great, and I can only see it getting better. So it's great news for us.
Thanks, Mark. See you Sunday.
Thank you, Tom. See you Sunday.
Thanks, Tom. Holly, please.
Following on from what Tom says, how do you feel like May has stepped into the role as captain this season?
I think she's done a fantastic job, Holly. She's it's a big shoes to fill, Zal's. Zal's a big shoes to fill. She's got a huge character. Obviously was fantastic for our team as well. So to step in and to do it as seamlessly as she has, just shows the character of her. So I'm looking forward to continue to build that relationship, for her continue to lift silverware for Manchester United, and hopefully that's Sunday as well. So and just to help us drive us into this new era with these young players, I think you're only going to see many more great performances from her going forwards.
Another player that's grew as the season's gone on has been Fallon. How do you think she's stepped up to replace Mary Earps? Again, really tough shoes to fill. I think she's done it fantastically well, and she'll be another huge part on Sunday as to, should we win the trophy and lift the cup at the end, then she'll be a huge part of that. We're going to need her, as we are going to need everybody, but she'll play a huge part. She's been fantastic, will continue to be fantastic, and I think it will only get better, Holly. So again, another one that I think has got lots more growth in her. And just to finish what Catherine touched on it, how important are the fans going to be at Wembley on Sunday? Honestly, the most important, every time. So I'd couple it almost with the mentality of the players, being able to go to that dark place that I've spoken about, and the fans are going to be the key ingredients to hopefully drive us over the line and push, impenetrable Chelsea to be penetrated for us to be able to win that trophy. So they're going to be a huge part, and they know it. And, we're going to hopefully give them a lot to sing about on Sunday. Thank you and good luck for Sunday. Thank you, Holly.
Thanks, Holly. Sandra, you trying to sneak in an extra question?
Yeah, sorry, Mark, I completely forgot to ask. Just about Melvie Mallard, obviously, just your thoughts on how important she is in terms of not just on the pitch, but also in terms of the dressing room and the kind of spirit she brings to the team. Honestly, Sandra, she's such a great character. I said before the Arsenal game, we all need to embrace our inner Melvine, because she's just this vibrant character who
takes on the challenge of what's ahead of her with this smile and this energy. And I think she's shown a lot more of that this year, Sandra. You know, the previous season, I don't think, you know, she's trying to find out who she was in our team. But that energy, that spirit, that experience for someone still so young has been a massive driving factor this year. And like, whether it from the start or whether it coming into the game, she'll play a huge part in this final, I have no doubt.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra.